Kia ora and welcome to another episode of Rural New Zealand. I'm your host Scotty Banford. Join me as we check out what's happening in the rural communities. Alrighty, on this week's episode, it's off to the Conway to experience a stud bull farm. We talked to Bowden about environmental issues. Then it's out to Oxford as we discuss some engineering solutions. But first we discover the magic that goes into creating a ghost beer. Beer. Some would say humanity's best friend. A beverage most enjoy after a hard day at work or for socialising at the local public house. But I wanted to go beyond the beer in the pint glass and find out more about the passion and hard work that goes into producing a high-quality local ghost brew. Gladfields is a fifth-generation family farm that has been producing malts for beers for over 12 years. We spoke to Gabby about the malting process.
Most of our malts is made with barley. We do have a wheat and rye malt, but it's all malt grown here in Canterbury. Basically what we're doing, we're just replicating what the barley does in the soil. We're germinating there to activate the enzymes, and these enzymes are going to break the sugars and what the yeast is going to feed off to produce the alcohol that we desire in a beer, and then so also the flavours as well. The malt's probably one of the most important part of the brewing process, and we're proud to be producing good quality for our clients to make good quality beer.
Yeah, so ghost breweries have come to you guys and said, hey, this is what we want. How do you guys sort of tailor to their needs?
The reason why we could turn into good malt is because we've been growing malting barley for generations. Doug's the fifth generation barley grower, and people mistaken, they think that we have the fifth generation maltings, but we actually been growing barley for 5 generations. Doug is the first generation that decided, hey, I don't want to sell these, I just want to process that myself. And he was, I was in the right place in the right time for us as well. As in our marriage, we just got married and wanted to do something different, and yeah, that's how Gladfield started.
Once the malt is bagged, it makes its way to Christchurch. The next part of the journey starts with Nigel.
It goes through a boiling process of about 90 minutes again, and then it's transferred via a heat exchanger to take the wort, which is what the product is called at this stage. It takes that from boiling down to around about 20 degrees, and then we park it in one of these big tall vessels here, which is the fermenter, and add the yeast, and that's when the process really starts of making beer. The yeast eats up all the sugars that we've extracted from the grain, and the byproduct of that is, of its digestion, is the alcohol and the CO2 that you get in the beer.
The beauty of Ghost is that you sort of have no wastage as well.
What we do is there's what's called the spent grain in the mash tun at the end of the brew. So that's all the husks that we've extracted most of the sugar from, and the endosperm and the rest of the barley. So we've got to get that off the premises, and it is a completely organic material, and generally what brewers do is try and find a farmer that will be able to utilise it as a stock feed. There's still plenty of protein and fibre and energy.
Start to finish, how long does that sort of process all take? Is it different for different beers? Or?
Well, it is different, yeah, different beers. The fastest beers to make are the ales. They are fermented at a warmer temperature with a different sort of yeast, usually around in sort of the 20 to 24 degree mark, and that can be fully fermented in about maybe 5-6 days, and then the conditioning process, which is where we chill the beer down, and that drops all the proteins and the haze and the hot particles out of the beer. That can take about another maybe 2 to 3 weeks. So I guess for an ale you're looking at around about a month to produce. A lager takes a bit longer actually. The lager is fermented at a lower temperature with a different strain of yeast, around about sort of 10 to 12 degrees, and that can take up to about 2 or 3 weeks to ferment, and then a lot longer in conditioning, maybe even up to 3 months in conditioning. I'm really quite proud and happy with the delicious pale ale, which was sort of the flagship beer for Ghost. I feel really privileged to be in a situation where we can source the bulk of our ingredients really locally. They're all grown in Canterbury. It's supporting the local economy. I open up a bag of grain and it's just so fresh and vibrant, and that's all down to the good work done by Doug and Gabby and Caleb out at Gladfield. It goes into pretty much all our beer goes into kegs and straight to the bar, so there's no packaging. So we're very, very low waste company. Everything's happening locally. It's all, so it's fantastic. Yeah, I'm stoked to be a part of it.
Once Nigel was finished with the malt, an Oxford farmer who goes by the name of Trev feeds his cattle the leftover brew, and he reckons they absolutely love it.
It's still got a lot of nutrition value in it, and they do so well. They come through winter great, even though they get less baleage and that, and supplement this. It's it's really, really good for them, and they really love it.
Yeah, they're definitely hoeing into it. Do they have a particular favourite brew?
Believe it or not, yes, they do. Yeah, the more stoutish brews, the malt more malty. They seem to love that more.
And you mentioned off camera they're quite good for fattening up the stock because you've got lighter soils here.
Yes, it finishes them very well. So yeah, and when it goes dry, that's really good.
At the end of the day, it's time to enjoy all the hard work and relax with a cold one in your hand. So Mars, we're at the business end.
Yep.
Is this where it all happens?
Well, for the customer it does, yeah, totally. It's definitely our shop window for Ghost. We're pretty lucky to have the supply contract for the ducks, so yeah, it's certainly the best place to try our entire range because it's definitely here. So yeah.
So how did Ghost Brewery all start? How did that all come about?
Well, I was running a little music production company called Delicious Music, and we were running lots of gigs down at Ducks Live, and Julian asked me did I want to do a collab beer. They were working with lots of promoters at the time and doing beers like that, and that was our first foray. So we made a Delicious Music, we made a Delicious Pale Ale, and got lots of really, really good feedback and sold really well, and it's sort of like, wow, that's a bit easier than selling music. So that sort of really kicked it all off. Julian and I were at a party a couple of months later, and we were just discussing how well it went and sort of should we get his old family business back up and running, and we sort of went, hell yeah. Woke up the next morning, was still a good idea, and yeah, rest is history really. Yeah. Here we are.
And how important has the Ducks sort of been with collaborating with your business and stuff?
Oh, essential. Essentially, we wouldn't be here without the Ducks. That was kicked it all off. That's our platform client really. This is where we kick off all our ideas and try new ideas, and we don't have a bar ourselves at the moment, so it's a great place for people to come check it out and try our beers and hang out with the Ghosts.
Yeah. And how important is it for you and the business to sort of use local ingredients and sort of have zero footprint?
Yeah. Well, I think it's really important. One, your ingredients aren't travelling as far. The Gladfield malt's like world class, so it's awesome to have those guys just down the road. I mean, the only ingredient that comes from a long, long way away is the hops in our American beers. Obviously coming all the way from America. So apart from those beers, it's everything's New Zealand hops, New Zealand malt, obviously New Zealand water, and made by Kiwis for Kiwis.
Is there any sort of favourite beers that you enjoy yourself or customers love?
Delicious Pale Ale is still our number one seller. It's certainly my favourite beer. It's I love going to places and drinking my own beer. It's kind of a nice ego brush, eh? It's cool.
It's great to have a local beer produced right here in Canterbury. Alrighty, stay tuned because after the break on Rural New Zealand, we're up the road to the Te Mania Bull Stud Farm. See you guys then. Welcome back to Rural New Zealand. Now the Te Mania Bull Stud Farm is just down the road from the Conway River, and we caught up Will Wilding, who's managing the property. Our family moved up here from Southland in 1934. We started the stud in 1928 with 5 cows that were gifted to my great-grandfather as wedding presents. 80, nearly 90 years of breeding in the Te Mania line now. Next June will be our 50th on-farm bull sale. We used to take the bulls away to sell, and we've been mating heifers for probably over 60 years now as well. The farm that we're running about 1,200 hectares effective country over 3 properties. 2 that are owned by the family and 1 we lease.
The location of the property allows some interesting crops to be grown.
We lease some land to Scott Fresh each year. Scott Fresh is a vegetable company from down Southbridge, and we've got quite lucky with the climate here. We're able to grow lettuces and broccoli right through the winter. So when they pull, once they've all done harvesting the broccoli, any leftover broccoli, we sort of treat it like any other brassica crop and run some cows over it and graze it. It works out pretty well.
With the sale coming up in early October, Will showed me some of the stock that will be on sale.
Yearling bulls that we've pulled out, they're all suitable for heifer mating and things, so we sell them at auction in October. So they're all selected for calving ease and low birth weight and short gestation length. So if farmers and stuff want to make yearlings and things, are suitable for that. We've got 49, and hopefully we'll sell 40 of them this year, 35 to 40. Yeah.
Is it the sale at the end of the year?
Yeah, and 5th of October this year we're having it, so should be good, see how they go.
Yeah. And what are they munching on at the moment?
We've got a mix here that we direct drilled in after we had peas and barley for the summer and did silage off it, and we direct drilled in tama ryegrass, Persian clover and green globe turnips. And surprised how well it's come away, given we haven't had any rain up here, but yeah, it must have been something in underneath that it got to, yeah.
With an extra set of hands on the farm for the day, Will was quick to put me at work setting up brake fences for the cattle.
Not a very straight line.
Nah. To be fair, I wasn't paying any attention.
These are the mixed stage stud cows. Just started calving in the last couple of days, and we calve in 3 groups. So we've got the heifers for their first calves, and we have the second calvers, and then these mixed stage girls. And so we're going to be calving probably 520 females, 510 females all up this year. Yeah, and every calf as it hits the ground we'll weigh and record and collect all the information we need to for it and get their pedigrees and things, yeah.
So does that come in with the sales side of things as well for you guys? Like having all your data recorded?
Yeah, so to sell the bulls and things, we need full pedigree for them, so we DNA test every calf that hits the ground, and we also, even though most of the time you see it with the cow, we match it to the sire to the dam as well as the sire. So if any switching goes on, any cows stealing each other's calves, we'll be able to pick it up and work out what's happened, and then the information we collect when we weigh them at birth and things, that goes towards their EBVs, and then it all gets compiled for the bull sale in June and October, yeah.
And how many of the calves do you sort of keep each year?
So we'll keep them all through. Say if we have 240 female calves, we'll probably keep 120 as replacements. The rest they'll drop out and we'll sell them to people they'll get them to breed from, or we work some or things like that. And of the bulls, we'll sell 120 in June, about 40 in October, and the balance will be culls or private sales.
From day one, every calf born on the Te Mania farm will be tagged and have all its information recorded. This new mother didn't like the look of our cameraman.
In there, it's got our scales. We weigh them. This here takes a DNA sample from their heads, and the calf gets some antibiotic spray Where the tags are. Back with Mum, simple as that.
Sorted out. They're not usually that angry. She's an old cow, she was born in '03.
Plenty of experience in this.
Yeah, probably pretty sick of us taking her calves off her in their first day of birth.
Like any great farming operation, it's all about teamwork.
Pretty lucky. I've got my partner working on the farm with me between her studies, and got Clem who does the tractor work. He's bloody marvellous. We wouldn't be able to do it without Clem. He's feeding animals every day. He's doing the ag work. He keeps the whole thing running, and couldn't do it without a good team. Yeah.
And you mentioned earlier that a big sale in next year for the 50th. Is that going to be big? You got any good plans for that?
Yeah. No, it should be, and it will be a good one. Dad likes to. His dad's renowned for his hospitality, so. That's the sale day, and having your clients all in one spot and having them all together and catching up with them for a beer and things. It's our one day that we can really give back to the people that support us so well, buying our bulls and any heifers and things that we sell right through. It's a day we can say thank you and put on a feed for them and stuff, so it's really important that we do have that hospitality. So the 50th one should be a special one.
Well, it sounds like we might have to tag along to that party next year. Alrighty, stay tuned on Rural New Zealand, because after the break we talk to Bowden Environmental and we shoot up to Oxford where we talk about engineering. See you guys then. Welcome back to Rural New Zealand. Now lately I've been talking to Bowden Environmental and we discussed some environmental issues.
My name is Christine. Bowden Environmental is based in Kaikoura. We service the whole of Canterbury though. Our main work is doing resource consents, whether it be new consents for irrigation or effluent, gravel extraction, or doing changes to existing consents. We also do other things. We do aquifer test analysis, farm environment plans. This is a big thing in Canterbury. It's been introduced in the last couple of years. Some people already have a farm environment plan in place. Others are either getting them in place or they will need to have a farm environment plan at least in place next year. Under the Land and Water Regional Plan, Canterbury is sort of been divided up into nutrient allocation zones. So the red nutrient allocation zone is where water quality outcomes are not met. Most farms in the red nutrient zones will need at the very least a farm environment plan and an overseer nutrient budget completed by 30th of June 2017, and they also may need a land use consent.
How do the farmers get compliant?
Well, a lot of them are aware of the plans and the rules and sub-regional plans, and know what plan and rules that they should actually come under. They should. A lot of them should have, if they're irrigating, they should already be consented and fully compliant with all their irrigation consent conditions. But the land use consent, that's a new one for a lot of people. So a lot of people will not know that they might need a consent or that they might need a farm environment plan or an overseer nutrient budget. The farm environment plan is a tool which it will identify good management practices that a farmer is already carrying out on the farm, whether that be metering his take, making sure that he's checking irrigation restrictions if it's a surface water take, keeping stock out of water, maintaining equipment, and it can also identify actions that he can do to improve things environmentally and also on farm, and that can be riparian planting to protect the waterways from runoff, nutrients reaching it that way. Better maintenance of equipment can mean better efficiencies on the farm, and there's a variety of other things that are improved as a result.
people don't know, it's the best means to get in touch with you guys and find out?
Yep, they can just give us a ring and we can let them know. It could be just a short phone call to just have a look at and see what area they're in and what plan they come under. And then we can direct them if they do perhaps need these things done, like a farm environment plan. We can actually help them with that as a company. We can direct them to people who can do the overseer nutrient budget, and we can also show them where the forms are to apply for land use consent, because a lot of people could actually do it themselves. It's a tick box form, so it's quite simple, and if you do need a land use consent, then the basis behind that is the farm environment plan and overseer.
If you ever have any environmental questions, please do give Bowden a call. Alrighty, now it's time to shoot up to Oxford and talk about engineering. So we're out here in Oxford, and I believe you're the man to come to if you've got any mechanical issues?
Well, yes, I suppose if you break it, hopefully we can fix it for you. Or we'll just tell you off severely for breaking it and operating it incorrectly.
Yeah.
So what's happening here is we're gathering the old weld out, which has been full of cracks and grease, and then of course it's been leaking water, and then once it's all out and clean, we shall re-weld it with a new washer over it, etc., to try and prevent roll from leaking and maintain its weight.
What other sort of engineering stuff can you do, like repairs-wise?
And we can make you a hose pretty much any shape, size, length that you want,
yeah,
to keep your hydraulic systems going.
So if people just rock up, they can say, oh, can you fix my hydraulic hose? You can do that?
Yes, we can, yep, and yes, I do.
Yeah.
Yes, people are preferring to use the local supplier, a local person, rather than travelling to further afield, Rangiora, Christchurch or wherever, which is great. It's good to see, good support.
Yeah. And what would be your customer base? What would they be mostly made up of?
Mostly agricultural, of various sectors, of course. And yes, it's not just the dairy that's suffering at the moment. Everyone's suffering because we haven't had any rain much.
Yeah.
Which one day it'll come and we'll curse and swear about it being so wet. Yeah, through here we've got pretty much everything you might need in the way of cultivation, wear points and bolts and so forth. And over here, lots of other agricultural hardware, tools, chains, ropes, cable ties, large range of bearings, and full range of lubricants, of course. So pretty much anything you may need on farm, hopefully we have it here, and if we haven't got it, we certainly can get it.
Yeah. But there's no other hardware places in Oxford, is there? So you're probably the place to come to.
Yes, we are. Yeah.
So Andy, summer's just around the corner. Do you think water's going to be important this year?
I think water will be a very important resource that needs to be managed and looked after this summer, not only from an irrigation point of view, but from a stock management point of view. So I can see that yes, we will need to keep our fittings store reasonably full. So when there's a need for an urgent repair, yes, the correct fittings are here, so it can be made.
Yeah.
Just the way the weather pattern is, and the forecasters are saying, yes, a dry nor'westerly spring.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound good at all for any of us.
No. And it looks like you've got plenty of parts all through here, that's for sure.
We like to think we would have what you need on the shelf. Now it's rolling from winter to summer. We can still fill your gas bottles, and we like to try and fill them when you come rather than have you come back later on.
Yeah.
And we can fill from the little small ones right up to big 45 kg.
So you do it all here, really, don't you?
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah. Well, we try to.
Well, thanks for joining us today on Rural New Zealand. I certainly hope you enjoyed the show. Just remember to give us a like on Facebook, and if you have missed an episode, you can watch it on demand. Join us next week as we're down to mid-Canterbury as we meet the Car Fields Irrigation team. See you guys then.